Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, where the topic is From Projects to Products, Transforming PPM for Digital Organizations. My name is Doug Welsby, and I'm the Channel Manager here at Wicrosoft. I'm also joined by my colleague, Jim Patterson, our Director of Sales. During today's webinar, attendees will be on mute, and the line will not be open for questions. However, feel free to use the GoToWebinar question feature to submit questions. I'll address these questions during the webinar and will respond via email if we do not get to your specific question. If for some reason you get distracted or pulled away from the webinar, no need to worry, as I'll be emailing a link to the presentation once it has been posted to our YouTube channel. I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate the introduction. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on this exciting topic. The world is changing and constantly evolving, and the trend of moving from projects to products, especially as we're transforming, digitally transforming as organizations, and what that means to PPM, PMOs, and organizations as a whole. We're going to talk about some of those high-level concepts today. Some of the things we are going to talk about is the challenges in this modern digital age that is driving the need for some of this transition. We'll talk about some of the concepts of shifting from traditional project-oriented to more product-centric focuses, and then some concepts around what product-centric really means and what some of the aspects of that are that should be considered. And then I'll be going back to Doug. He'll be giving you a demonstration of some solutions that are available to automate all this today and provide these things in a comprehensive set of solutions. And then we'll then go and give you a summary, wrap up, next steps, and some offers we have for you at the end. So with that, let's just talk about what's really at the crux of all this. We are in the age of digital transformation. And I think it's fair to say that in this world with companies and competitive landscapes, either you're going to be disrupt things or you're going to be disrupted by someone else. If you think about the age of digital transformation and how just certain industries, and I highlighted just a few here that have changed over time. We look at the travel industry that was disrupted, travel agents, for example, and the ways that we actually interact with travel companies has been impacted by online booking and ride share apps instead of taxi cabs, and just getting immediate status and notifications on our mobile devices. And video rentals, where has that gone? With the advent of streaming services and mobile device viewing and being able to do these things anywhere, anytime, and have user interfaces that help me easily select what I want. The music industry, another thing, from records to CDs to now online digital audio and satellite radio and video services that now provide our artists to us on our computer screen with our favorite song selections. And then newspapers and media, replaced by things like news feeds and people getting news from social media and just instant notifications and alerts on those things that come to us wherever we're at. And bookstores is another one that's gotten, severely impacted with the advent of digital readers and being able to take your collections of books with you and magazines wherever you are and be able to buy and access instantly, even when you're sitting in your chair on a plane before it takes off. And then department stores, we all know about the struggles of the traditional department stores and how that's being impacted by online shopping and free and fast delivery and be able to, access and order things up from any device. So the list goes on, but the idea here is that if you don't evolve, if you don't change the way you're doing business or the way you view your customers and the way you access them, you could be in for some difficult times as some of these industries have gone through. Ultimately, change is the new norm, meaning change is going to happen whether you want it to or not. In earlier years and decades ago, we had maybe a slower paced business environment and where we had times to maybe take a year or two to plan out a product line and plan ahead and just basically go steady as she goes in more of a traditional fashion. But the environments here have become more unpredictable and we are constantly forced to adapt to change, meaning if that's our new reality and our new norm, we have to be able to respond to that well and respond to it effectively. And on top of that, not only is change coming, but the speed and the pace of that change is coming upon us just seems to keep continuing to accelerate. meaning our windows of opportunity are shrinking, meaning we have to react and get things to market much quicker. And then once we get something to market, its lifespan out in the marketplace may be much shorter, meaning we have to look at the next horse to ride much beyond that. So we have to have methods and attitudes in place that help us survive within this new reality. So the inevitable impact is that we have new challenges across the enterprise that impact, all aspects of it. This graphic is using the metaphor of a caterpillar going to a butterfly, but the speed at which we innovate has to keep getting greater and greater, and we have to get better and allocating more time and effort into innovation. We have more educated consumers with access to online information, meaning they are more demanding and have higher expectations of us as providers or as vendors. Even though the technology and the things that we're providing may be more complex on the back end, there's a demand for simplicity, meaning that app culture, things want to get up and easy to run, be able to just get in, turn it on, and start being productive, as opposed to requiring lots and lots of training to be effective using a piece of software. And the rise of competition, meaning with cloud bases of access to technology and tools, a lot of folks that didn't have access to those things in the past now have ready access to that. Mean our competition is coming at us from a lot of different directions, even from very small competitors and upstarts. And also the time to value. We have to really shrink the time that we get value to the marketplace in our products. And when we look at the people it impacts, the executives who have to be on the hot seat as far as envisioning new strategies, new ways of reaching our customers, and new business models that help us monetize those things. We then have, the PMOs who, because this is a digital age, we're doing much, much more technology and software development, where essentially even traditional brick and mortar companies are becoming software companies at their core. And then PMOs have to actually manage more of these types of projects that are using different methodologies, different approaches, and possibly even different frameworks. And then once we deliver this technology, we have to support them, and our support organizations have to be ramped up quickly as these evolve and we put new versions of things out into the marketplace. So what is digital transformation? I mean, to some folks that don't live and breathe this on a daily basis, sometimes it sounds like a very esoteric or high level or nebulous term, digital transformation. But if we look at it, it's really more than just technology. It really is about new ways of looking at the business. And in this day and age, it has to be focused on the customer and making the customer happy and delighting the customer. We have new strategies and approaches to take advantage of new opportunities, new business models, whether they be online or more mobile or different ways to get things delivered to customers. Those are things that are strategies and approaches that have to be considered. And we have to address both the customer-facing user experience and the experience we have with the customer, and also our back office operations to support that so that we can be successful and actually deliver on the things that we're trying to do. Overall, it involves changing mindsets throughout the organization for this whole aspect that incorporates people, processes, and technology. So if we want to evolve to more of a product orientation, which involves more agile approaches, here's some fundamental things that we want to do. Instead of large monolithic projects that have big, big bang type of deliveries at the end of long periods of time, we want to break work into smaller, easier, manageable pieces and chunks. And we also want to get value sooner and adapt to changing conditions so that as opposed to some of the longer ranging waterfallish types of things that were done in the past for larger projects, the requirements and the customer expectations can change even over the life cycle of a given project, meaning we have to be able to adapt to those changes that happen and make in-course corrections as they make sense so that we're delivering the right things at the right time to the right marketplace and the right audiences. And then to do this, organization structures and performance management and performance way we measure things must also transform so that we reinforce the types of behaviors and the type of perspectives that we want to have when we're choosing what to work on and how we work on them. And these types of approaches have benefits at all levels. By going from a more project-oriented to a product-oriented focus, there's benefits from the executive level all the way down to the team level and everyone in between. The key is, if we do this correctly and we do it well, we can get value sooner, We can delight our customers with better deliveries. We can adapt more quickly to change. We can have more meaningful prioritizations of work to work on the right things. We can improve our delivery of quality because we're delivering in smaller chunks and not bigger, giant-sized bites. And then we can adjust our teams to the size of demand based on the products that we're talking about and the teams that are allocated to those things and scale those accordingly. And then we can have leaner organizations with less overhead if we do this in a proper fashion. So by changing the model, the traditional project plan, meaning we get requirements, we build a big plan, and then we try to follow and adhere to that plan no matter how long it goes, was the old way of doing business in a more classic waterfall methodology. Now, in the middle, we want to break this down into manageable chunks or blocks such that what we're doing really is we want to follow product roadmaps. And instead of project plans that have defined start and ends over the life of the project or just definitive deliverables, phases, or milestones, the product roadmap is really talking about moving into products where it's a continuous process. We're continually delivering value within those different streams and within those different products or product lines, such that it's a continuous effort that just keeps on going, and we start managing ongoing releases over time. That way, the focus is less on discrete stop and ends as it is as continuous streams of value that we deliver in our product roadmaps. So to do that, we have to define what a product structure might look like and align those products or product families or product lines into groupings, based upon who the stakeholders or the customers are that they're addressing. Align them to the teams that are actually going to be dedicated to working on these specific product lines, and also have product roadmaps for each of these products or product lines, and then allocate budgets at these higher levels rather than down at detailed projects, such that you're funding this roadmap as opposed to funding individual, discrete, or mini types of projects, and then just allocating teams to those things as we go through our continuous efforts. So what could a product be in this new digital age? It could be a variety of things. But things that it should do is it should be something that serves a customer, either internal or external. It should be something that delivers capabilities that customers do value, something that they want. It should be something that is named and clearly defined, something that is very definitive. And it can be also a repeatable service. It doesn't have to be a one-off product. It can also be a platform that possibly supports a number of products. It's something that could be bought, sold, or subscribed to by a customer. And likely, if it is a product, you're probably going to have competitors that are trying to do similar things and get to market in a way that's better than you do. And the idea is to become the leader in that regard. So if we go to the product model and the more agile approaches around that, what are the fundamental building blocks of that? Well, it's all based around having stable and autonomous teams. And if you allocate a team that's dedicated to a particular product, they are multifunctional in nature and be able to handle everything that needs to happen in that stream for that particular product and in that roadmap, such that they become intimately familiar. They improve their effectiveness and their velocity and their knowledge, and they get better over time by being dedicated and not being scattered around through multiple different diverse efforts. And then at the middle, you have a product manager whose job is to guide the things based upon an agreed to roadmap that's agreed to by the team that says that they can actually deliver it. The product manager agreeing with their stakeholders and their customers on what it is that they need and what should be delivered and prioritized accordingly. And then the ultimate goal is to keep customers and stakeholders happy and delight them every step of the way by delivering the right things in a quality fashion. Now, these things are not just ideas that we have at Wickersoft. I mean, the shift is well underway. If we look at studies, and one that was done by the Gartner Group in an IT budget benchmark survey, CIOs say the shift to products is well underway. Here, by 2018, 72% of CIOs said they're doing a product-oriented approach or a product line management approach to the way they're delivering. 72% of the organizations. And that they say that in those organizations, the percentage of the work that's being done or the depth of the product-centric model within those organizations is increasing. In 2020, the estimate is that 66% of the deliveries will be done in a product-centric model, as opposed to the projections that may jump up to 79% even by 2022, meaning that this trend to product orientation is taking hold and getting more depth within organizations as the way they do work. So the key here is, and as we said earlier on, is to deliver value sooner. In the traditional waterfall approaches, they were typically longer term initiatives, and then there was a big maybe. The longer the duration on these things, the maybe is at the end of the project, is it still what the customer needs or the market needs at that point in time? Are we still getting the value out of that? Is it still going to cost what we thought it was going to cost? And those types of things. So there's a big maybe that's often there with the waterfall type of approach, as well as a high preponderance of the instance of things like change orders and change requests and additional funding that might be required. In the more product-oriented roadmap approach, each outcome delivers value, and that comes from the first minimum viable product of a product that goes out the door to the subsequent releases that go out incrementally over time. They all add value incrementally as we go, and by getting value sooner, it often helps to justify the funding for the next release or iteration, and to also spawn, based upon feedback, what that next iteration should even include and what value should be put in to that next iteration. So the shift is well underway, and another study that Gartner did on here as far as what are the top goals that people are looking for in a product-centric delivery model. And of the respondents, and the percentage of respondents that replied, speed to market and agility when faced with changes seemed to be a common theme. The time to market or value was a strong one. Responding faster to changing or unclear requirements as those evolve over time was seen as next. And then responding faster to changing priorities. And that could be things just from an internal customer, it could be market driven, it could be all kinds of things, let alone things that we're facing right now with the pandemic and things that often put environmental things in there that actually change priorities as well. So the upshot of this is not just a structural or a process change. It's organizations themselves must change, including the culture, and having that merge with the overall workplace. And that goes from the IT folks that work on these things and the product delivery folks and the stakeholders alike and the executives. It really makes some fundamental changes required, and moving in that direction to become more effective at this new approach is what's really required. Just a little comic on the other side is, what if we don't change at all and something just magical happens? We can't just put our heads in the sand and just think that these things are going to transform over time just by osmosis. So when we look at projects versus products, there's some different things as far as the aspects of that. On the funding level, from a project-oriented approach, you budget for the life of a project based on resources and time, but in a product-oriented approach, it's ongoing, as I said, continuous as a share of the overall budget based on business need and return on investment and other factors. On a work side, it ends on a fixed date and delivers certain milestones or phases. But on a product-oriented side, the work does not stop until the product itself is actually retired. But in between that, delivers regular releases up until that point. On the change side, on the project-oriented side, you avoid change and you manage through change requests if necessary. But on the product side, you embrace change and you execute by more lean, agile teams that value speed of delivery and responding to that change. From a focus area on the project side, success is based on time and on budget and minimizing risk, where on the product side, you deliver business outcomes and then decide what the next most valuable thing is that you should be doing. From a teaming perspective, on the project side, we're often matrixed and have functional specialization and silos that you bring parties in that are almost borrowed for those projects at those particular times. But on a product-oriented approach, we have a self-contained, dedicated, multidisciplined product team that allows you to stay focused and improve and become more efficient over time. And then tracking these things on a project-oriented approach, you measure variances against cost and time, against the plan and against the budget. But on the product side, you measure it by the number of teams that are allocated, the value that's delivered, and the ROI that's achieved with the products that are being delivered that are out there. It also incorporates some new language for the PMO. The old word, the old guard and the old way, the word project plan becomes replaced by product roadmaps and team backlogs. The word project becomes replaced by minimum viable product and other similar terms. Earned value management in the old waterfall approaches is replaced by things like burn rates and backlogs and velocities. The stage gates and those types of approach really get replaced by continuous delivery and release train types of approaches. So with those concepts, we have to have solutions that enable us to adopt those things and not do it in a segmented and more manual process. And today we're going to demonstrate to you how one plan can connect strategy down to execution levels and take a more product-oriented approach. We're looking at kind of a more of a roadmap view over here, and Doug's going to demonstrate these things to you today. But if you're going to facilitate agile transformation, not everybody gets there all in one swoop. If you look on the far right, people that are doing traditional, maybe waterfall types of project management, on the right side, there are tools and capabilities in there for people to embrace those within one plan. And on the far left, where you're looking at people that are fully immersed into agile approaches across the board, one plan can help you with those as well. But in the middle, there's folks that are either in the middle of their journey trying to get over to the far left, or they have the type of industries or maybe an acknowledgement internally that they'll always have a mix of some more agile and product-oriented things and maybe some traditional things. And the ability to accommodate those things within the one plan solution is devised. So you can either meet you where you're at any given point in time, or have a hybrid as you go through transition or to wherever you think your transition will take you. And so we can handle not only the traditional, but also integrating with the tools that you have to manage agile and other approaches, and be able to manage things for you and provide visibility and tools at the strategy level, down at the portfolio level, and then down within your value streams and releases, et cetera, so that we can actually manage this from top to bottom and across the board through all the things that you would like to do. And lastly, I would say, is that one plan provides its capabilities and can surface it in many tools and platforms. One plan is designed to work on its own as a standalone solution in the cloud to provide the things that Doug's going to show you today. But a lot of organizations have adopted tools and platforms already and want one plan to augment what's going on there. And hence we can surface it in things like the popular Microsoft Teams collaborative software, in Azure DevOps, for example, in for Agile teams, or within SharePoint, within your Office 365 environment, et cetera. So it's flexible in the way that we can deliver it, but all in all, the capabilities of one plan remain consistent. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Doug, and he'll demonstrate some of these things.
So our theme today for today's webinar is projects to products. And many of us are used to a project focus, but more and more agile product focus approaches are proving valuable to our customers. So today I'll show you with one plan how we can provide visibility into your major product lines, allow you to manage a product-focused agile epic series of work, how one plan provides valuable insight into associated costs from product lines to epics, and also how we provide flexibility to adopt one plan on your platform of choice. So within these first set of screens, I'm going to show you how our one plan solution allows you to do product requests and then to submit those requests in against a series of different product lines. So our product requests interface that we see here shows an intake of product-related requests or submissions, new ideas for product-related features or enhancements that we might be focused on delivering. There's no maintenance of a separate process required with this integrated application environment. These active requests are submitted directly into the same tool that you'll use to plan out the subsequent program increments for the work that's going to be delivered, to track estimated costs and benefits to build out the team approach and to assign these epics and this work to the various teams that will be focusing on delivering on these requests. So general level information can be submitted through these interfaces. We can do prioritization. As I mentioned earlier, track costs and benefits. And in these easy to use forms, you'll see here that we're able to submit a request in, provide a name, maybe identify who the executive sponsor for a specific product related request might be requested by. And we see details, a value statement, other items that are useful for categorization and classification of this submitted request. We can do prioritization within these tools. We see some business driver focused prioritization metrics here. I'll show you subsequently in another type of approach for a different project, how we're able to capture information using lean metrics. And at this point, we can also track some initial financial estimates for this project, estimated costs and benefits, which is very useful for us to go through and start to identify the most valuable proposed epics and work that we're going to deliver against those product lines. So I've now switched to a view showing us our active product lines. And those of you, and most of us are familiar with Microsoft, would recognize that we've identified in this demo environment 3 key product lines to this fictional company, relevant in this case to Microsoft: Azure, business applications, and the modern workplace product lines. So here in this product line for business applications, we see some general level information. We've got a description captured for this particular business applications product line that we focus on. We've got some target customers information, a timeline for when we've initiated this particular product line. And if you retire something, we could also capture that in these screens and interfaces as well. Now, this is a demonstration environment. We're giving you some ideas of the art of the possible and what we could do with this solution. And of course, as we do a deployment of a solution like this in your environment, we'd capture the appropriate product line related information to ensure that you had the most valuable information exposed in that product line interface to allow you to capture the details that you need about those specific products you're focused on. Now I've drilled down within that product line to the Products tab, and you'll see within this business applications product line, we have several different products that we've identified as being part of that specific area of business. So we have AI Builder, Power Apps, Power BI applications, and all of these different products, again, aligned to that business applications product line. In the same fashion as we did at the higher level product line, we're able to capture information about those different products. And if I drill down into, for example, the Power Apps area, we see for Power Apps, we've identified the owner for that particular product. We've mapped it to that business applications product line. And then we have some additional information in here about the description, target customers, similar details, including, for example, timeline type information as well. Now, if I click on alignment, we see here that, again, we're able to identify whether or not this particular product called Power Apps aligns with our corporate strategy. We can do a competitive analysis on this. We can do risk analysis, all to, in the end, derive an analysis score. So if you're limited with regards to budget or with regards to resources to work on specific products, you can very rapidly do a prioritization of these different product lines against those product sets within this proposed portfolio. If I drill into the financials, it's worthwhile at this point within the analysis of your different product lines and the products to examine what we're intending to invest against this product line, what our anticipated revenue is from these products that we're going to produce, and then you see some ROI calculations, etc. On the right-hand side where we're showing Epic financials, what that's identifying is that we're rolling up from a variety of different epics that we will be delivering against this specific product line called Power Apps, the anticipated budget, the cost of those, remaining budget that we've allocated to them. So we get rolled up information from that assortment of different epics to allow us to consolidate that data in this product-focused area. And then finally, down at the lowest level in this line of product lines and products, we see the different epics and the areas of focus for this particular team, including health indicators in this dashboard showing us where we're on track or off track with regards to schedule, financial health, other areas within the solution. So we have a number of different capabilities within the tool that allow us to roll information from the working level, from epics, all the way up through the product lines and have visibility into that entire portfolio within a single interface. Now, if I drill down into the support customers using mobile project, we see here that we have an epic focused on this specific set of work. On this screen, we're gathering additional information about that particular epic. We see which portfolio and program it's associated with, and of course, other details such as who the owner of this is and the manager. Financial information that's exposed on this summary screen as well. And again, this is all fully configurable within this sort of interface to allow you to capture information, which is important to your organization for reporting and visibility into where you've invested not only your resources, but your budget and where you're trying to achieve the best returns. On this business case tab, we see the description and the business case that was provided for this specific epic, prioritization in a traditional manner, and of course, lean prioritization type approaches as well, all of which we can implement within a solution such as this to easily allow you to identify the most important projects and the most important epics and work that you need to focus on for your organization. In the One Plan Financials area, here we're showing how you're able to very quickly identify the financial costs related to this epic, including labor costs that you anticipate will be required to deliver this, materials and supplies, travel-related costs, contracts, etc. Effectively, any cost category or expense type that you need to capture to allow you to roll up those financial costs for this specific epic into an investment portfolio for your different product lines or the different products that make up those product lines. If I change to the Resources tab, our One Plan resource management capability allows you to very quickly build out the team that'll be focused on this specific epic. We see some commitments from those different resources in terms of hours in the year 2020 when we think we'll need from those different resources. So we can very rapidly build out a view of how much we think it's going to take us in order to be able to deliver on this particular proposed epic. So we've gathered general information, business case information, financial information, and we know quite a bit about the resources required for this specific epic and this initiative. So now let's take a look at what that looks like not from a single proposed epic point of view, but across an entire portfolio of work that we are considering taking on within this organization's assorted portfolio lines. So here we're showing a board view of the different epics, and the different focus areas for this organization by product. So along the top, we see we've organized this to show the different product lines, Dynamics 365, Teams, Power Apps, etc. Epics within those columns showing us our focus areas, and these tiles for each one of these areas is highlighting some key information that we've placed on the tiles in a very flexible fashion. I can go ahead and add additional fields easily within this interface to show not just budget and business unit, but ROI or other information that's important to me. I can switch these views around very easily, either by changing some of the configuration or by saving additional views, like I've done here to switch this interface to show me by product by goal for this particular portfolio. So to show product by goal within this analyzer, I'm able to render different views showing, like I mentioned earlier, products or product by goal, and drill down into that interface and showing columns of key objectives or strategic themes about those proposed epics and those portfolios. And in this view by goal, we see not specific product lines along the top, but goals and objectives for this organization: customer satisfaction, grow the business, run the business, etc. So we have columns of objective key results, or maybe you think of them as goals or strategic themes for your organization. And within each column title, we've rolled up the anticipated costs for each one of those, showing totals here in the column headers for the specific budget that we've associated with that. So we've got a very flexible view within this interface to show you different boards, different, I'm going to call them pivots on that information. A frequently used view of the data within a planning board like this is by program increment. So if I switch to my PI planning view, the way we've organized this demonstration view is to show program increments. In this case, we've numbered them 1 through 4, each representing a specific period of time. So in this case, during the first quarter of the year, which we're going to call program increment 1, we have some specific epics that we're focused on. I can change the level of granularity in this view to show you that we have different teams associated with those different epics. So in program increment 1, the blueprint team, the network team, byte team, or the A team, all of them have specific focus areas for their work. So we have columns showing program increments, swim lanes showing teams, coloring within this interface showing indicators such as the overall health in those budgets. And it's very straightforward for us to go through and say, well, we have some specific epics that are currently in the backlog, drag and drop those on for the blueprint team in a specific period of time. I can very easily add additional work to their current backlog, or to their program increment 1, rather, that we're focused on in that period, and kick off those backlog epics and those activities by assigning them out to those various teams. Another view I'll show you just quickly to finish up with the board views is stages by products. So in this case, we have a view which is going to have a more traditional staged approach with funnels of work: create, select, plan, manage, etc. And within that, again, swim lanes focused on the product sets, identifying the different epics by where they are in that specific stage of activity: create, select, plan, or manage. There's other views available within the One Plan portfolio planning interface as well. So if I change this to a roadmap view, in this case, we see grouping here by product sets, dynamics, teams, office, etc., and a roadmap view showing us when and to which product grouping those different epics have been assigned. So here's support customers using mobile, for example. The color by overall health shows me that that's yellow. And in this case, it's part of the Microsoft Teams product grouping, and allows us visualization into what's going on with that specific portfolio in this roadmap view by product. Now, we may wish to drill down and look at the work being performed on this particular epic. So if I click on that support customers using mobile epic, I'm able to then open up the work plan and visualize that in a board interface. And when I show that board interface here, you'll see we're now looking at the details of the activity and work that's happening on that specific epic. So this support customers using mobile particular epic is being delivered by the Agile product team. It's being delivered in an Azure DevOps environment. But with One Plan, we don't lock you into a single platform. We're integrated fully with ADO. We have the ability within One Plan to have full visualization and representation of this plan to allow you to do that top-down product management within the solution, right from your product lines through to your different products, and then the epics that you are delivering on to build out new features or to make enhancements to those product lines. And those enhancements and those actual activities could be taking place in a variety of work management tools, including, for example, an Azure DevOps development environment. So if I switch to our ADO environment, here you'll see that support customers using mobile Epic. We have a variety of different features that are being managed as part of the delivery of that particular team or that particular epic of work within the Azure DevOps environment. We can drill down through those different features. We can look at the user stories and, of course, the different tasks that are happening. And again, while the Agile team is delivering on that work here in this Azure DevOps environment, through our connectors and with our one plan solution, we have full visibility into the actual activities that are taking place in this Azure DevOps team environment back in our one plan integrated interface. Now, if you are concerned about context switching from one plan to Azure DevOps and back and forth, you'll notice in the lower left that one plan is fully integrated in this interface with our Azure DevOps environment. So we talk about platform flexibility. You can work within a one plan environment, as I showed you earlier, in an integrated Power Apps interface. In this case, we're seeing a similar interface, but it's one plan delivered on top of Azure DevOps. So we have a board view of our one plan portfolio rendered directly within the Azure DevOps environment, showing our funnel by goal for those specific activities and epics that we're delivering within and by that ADO environment and by the different teams. So we see funnel by goal in this particular rendering of a board view, funnel, reviewing, analyzing, and we're focused on things such as customer satisfaction, grow the business, run the business, etc. Again, all of this available within that interface. If I hover over that support customers using mobile Epic, there we have it. The budget is available to us. We can see which business unit is doing it, which anticipated benefits have been identified for that particular plan. So the level of detail that we have within the entire one plan portfolio remains available and visible to you within that Azure DevOps environment. Now, as I mentioned, one plan can be deployed to support many different use cases, whether you're waterfall project focused or agile product focused or somewhere in between. You might be hybrid, bimodal, adaptive, call it what you will, but one plan can be deployed to support different platforms, offering you flexibility without really locking you into any of them. So we've seen that Power Apps integrated environment. And here we're looking at one plan integrated with Azure DevOps. What I'll switch to now is just a simple one plan standalone environment. So if you're not on Power Apps, if you're not using ADO, but you still want to think in terms of products as opposed to projects, here we have a rendering of one plan showing our portfolios. We're showing the different value streams that we're focused on. Here we see the different epics that we've decided to build out against those portfolios of products, and then the different features in order to enable that epic of supporting customers using mobile, all directly within our one plan interface. So again, be it Power Apps, Azure DevOps, one plan standalone, you have platform flexibility within this interface and with one plan. Now I'll switch back to our Power Apps deployment, and we'll look for a moment at reporting within the solution. So no matter what your platform or product management approach, we have Power BI reporting capabilities that enable the visualization of your data throughout the application environment. So Power Apps and Azure DevOps, and of course one plan data can all be easily accessed with Power BI for extensive reporting. So we see on this homepage of this report a summary of our one plan, lean, agile environment. I can switch to a tab showing us lean metrics, information about this portfolio that we're delivering upon. If I switch through to a strategy view, just as another example, to kind of highlight how we can expose data in a variety of different manners using Power BI reporting across an entire enterprise of work that's being delivered, no matter what the platform is. So today I've showed you how one plan will provide visibility into your major product lines, how it allows you to manage product-focused, agile epics of work, how one plan helps to provide valuable insight into associated costs from these product lines rolling up from your various epics, and of course, how we also provide flexibility to adopt one plan on your platform of choice. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jim and let him wrap up the end of the webinar.
Thanks, Doug. Great demonstration. Now we're going to summarize and wrap up for you. Just to let you know about who we are, Wickersoft is a multi-gold certified Microsoft partner. We were actually founded as a joint venture with Microsoft back in 2002, but we have rich experience. We were actually named their PPM Partner of the Year back in 2019, and the current status on that as well. We have a global footprint, and we can help you with services around all this stuff. We can help you with implementing solutions like you saw today from Doug. We can provide education and training around these disciplines and around the tools. We can provide ongoing support for organizations, and we even have advisory services to help people implement these processes and culture change and management of that change as you go through these processes. So we're here to help you to whatever degree makes sense with either advisory, solutions, or operationally. We even help people manage things like this as a managed service operationally as well. If you liked what you saw here today, you can reach out to us or reach out to get a trial of one plan to just poke around and try to get hands-on with some of this stuff yourself. We have different pre-configured bases out there that allow you to try different use cases out there. That's available to you. But if you'd like, we can actually help you in a variety of different ways. If you're interested in the things you saw today, we can offer you a free kind of road mapping session to understand what it might take to get you into the solutions that you saw here today, regardless of how far along you are on your road to more product orientation or more agile approaches. We can help with that and give you an idea what it would take to get you there. We also can provide you some chaperoning on the trial. So if you want some help and assistance as you trial the solutions and maybe have some specific use cases you want to explore, we're happy to help you with that as well. Also, Doug gave you a generalized demo of the capabilities today, and if you have specific needs, use cases, or requirements, we're happy to schedule a personalized one-on-one demonstration with you, do some discovery to see what it is that you might want to see, and happy to schedule that for you as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you. We have webinars like this we do almost every week, and we have a whole rich library of on-demand ones that we've already recorded and upcoming webinars. If you go to oneplan.ai/webinars, you'll see those up there. Ones that are upcoming you can register for, and the ones that have been done, you can watch the recordings. And if you'd like to reach out to us and get some help from us or have some questions that we can help you with, you can email us at contact@oneplan.ai. And once again, I'd just like to thank you for spending some of your valuable time with us here today, and hope you guys all have a great day.